It's great that you brought up QR codes, because one of the conversations we've started having about 6 months ago was sort of the resuscitation of the QR code from the dead based on menus, primarily during the pandemic, because all the contactless menus in restaurants moved to QR codes. And there was an entire group of people that had never chosen to really interact with QR codes before. So the combination of that plus QR code recognition going native in the Android devices, right? That was sort of like a tipping point that we think is bringing QR codes back from the dead. We're integrating them into direct mail. We've got a direct mail division, and you know, we don't have the data yet because it's a fairly new initiative. But when we have outdoor discussions as it relates to QR codes for our outdoor clients, you know, most of them are sort of placements that are visible from the street. And so we've had an internal tug of war about whether to consider adding QR codes to those kind of placements, because unlike a transit placement where the person's not driving, right, and they're not distractible or distracted, you know, how have you guys sort of come out on that? When you're using the QR codes, are you sort of exclusively saying, oh, well, we want to use them in places where people are standing still, right? Or we are actually considering using them in placements where people might be in a vehicle, but maybe stopped at a red light or something like that?
Yeah, so you know, we don't focus on billboards. So it's really, you know, it's about, again, the platform, the street level, and these are places where people are transversing, and certainly there's you know, vehicles and kind of, you know, traffic that's being counted, but a lot of this is the journey of consumers as they're out and about. So we're very, very bullish on QR codes, and you know, we're seeing brands integrate so much into it to tell good stories. And kind of to that example before around, you know, you kind of a really kind of a multi-purpose campaign. We're doing, actually, Nature Valley just launched a wonderful program in Chicago at the Clark and Lake station, where it was a combination of a video campaign with sight, sound, and motion, really driving towards Nature Valley, but it actually had traditional static placements around the screens and in the station, and a QR code was actually embedded into it so that, you know, people could always go for more. And so the QR code can drive a coupon, right? It can drive more information. It can drive to like go to a map so I can get to that store that's actually selling, you know, the product. And so we're seeing high adoption of the use of QR code, to what you said, where I think people are used to it now. And I think, again, it makes the ad and the creative work harder. And from a standpoint of measurability and, you know, really driving an outcome, it's such a perfect way to, you know, make sure that you're not inundating the consumer with a lot of copy, and you're using the beauty of out of home, which is very different creative than you may on other devices or other mediums, to drive an outcome. So I'd say, you know, a very, very high percentage of marketers are thinking about this more, and we welcome it. I mean, it's the more that, you know, the ads can work for the consumer, the better.